Good morning, Saturday morning, July 29th, 2023, 11 a.m. in the Pacific time zone. Come over here and get an audio check. 11 a.m. in the Pacific time zone. Come over here and get an audio check. Well, Baby Beast was not muted. That's enough for an audio check. I don't need to check it there also, but I just did, didn't I? Pop out chat. William Dawson is in Zoom. Zoom is open. And actually, before I start into chat, I got something else I want to go look at or go acknowledge. Oystein Skogstad. Skogstad? I wonder if that's the right way to pronounce it. Sent an Amazon gift card. Thank you so much. Very kind of you. He says, love what you're doing on your channel by helping answering questions and others. I've learned a lot from watching your videos and live shows. $100 Amazon gift card. And just because I like demonstrating things, I'm going to click on apply to your Amazon account. I think I already determined that I can click through all of these without showing anything private, but I'm still not confident about that. So I'm going to switch away from that and click on that. I did one click, and then I'll just scroll here and see. Yep, no, that's all fine. It shows the Amazon gift card on the Amazon site, or I'm logged in, and then apply it to my Amazon account. This is so easy to do. And of course, as I think most of you know, they don't take any money out of that, so it all goes to my purchases. $100 has been applied successfully to your account. New gift card balance. I'm at $125 now. All right. Thank you. And then let's come over here to chat and zoom in chat a little bit. I'll try to get through here quickly and then go to Zoom. Darren Gilholm, 12:05 a.m. The started. I think maybe means the trailer, the way the show starts. Official Tim Tech thought he was first at 7:03 a.m., but not. Chris Garrett's asking for topics 3 and 8, and then 3 and 8. Haha, I just say I vote for Dale Earnhardt and Dale Earnhardt Jr. I'm guessing number 3 and number 8 might have been their car numbers. I don't get the reference there. Darren Gilholm says, like it at 10:17. Okay, I'll be here having my coffee. You can start now from Ken Stout. Frankie B, like the trailer, brings back memories. I enjoy that one too. I played a few times myself before showtime actually comes around. Tony Wallace saying good morning. Ken to Tony. One of the two, and good morning, homie. Frankie B with $4.99 super chat. He says, love the new trailer. Thank you so much. Greg Guy, morning in all in chat. Watching from St. Mary's County, Maryland. It's 91 degrees, all ready to be 95. U.S. Navy retired. Thank you once again for your service. Camden Tony William from Florida. This raining full sunshine day, just another normal day. Who know, it may even snow one of these days in Florida. Yeah, because that's a thing for summer. People saying hellos to each other. To chat between Richard Rogers. Hi, Ken. Hi, William. Richard, I've seen you. I've noticed your name a couple times, so we're going to turn you blue. You haven't been a troublemaker yet. No, I'm kidding. Good to see you, Roger. William Dawson would like topic number 6. So far mentions have been for 3, 6, and 8, which they are kind of interwoven, interlinked together. Sounds like it would be interesting, as the term normal is hard to nail down sometimes. I was talking about the configurations of a new computer for normals, meaning people who are not technicians. Yeah, 6 being, I just did that this morning. So Rick likes 6 also. Ida Rivera, hello. Ken Stout, let me help you with 6. You plug it in, you turn it on, my work is done here. That sounds like Best Buy. Hello, everybody, whatever, whenever. We're in Israel. Chit chat, hellos between people. Selden Ball giving us his weather report. Jonathan Rand, Rick, Brian Lightfoot. Us normal people vote for number 6. Ken has 86, shooting for 88. Those are comfortable temperatures. And it's jumping on me. Tony says AVDVR W good. No, I'll put the watch on the desk. So now W is good. Eat my lunch, watch the show. Skimming. Bobby Warren, Tim Cruz, Speedy C. Good morning, Zoom homies from Jeff Ryman, Zavi Minor. Almost missed it, but here I am. Here's Tim here. Ran topic number 3 because it's also a gateway topics 6 and 8. Absolutely. They're all related to each other and all can be worked on with this computer right here. Bobby Warren, hello. My brain, hey brain, my internet and TV is $80. I got my old Bright House Networks. My old Bright House Networks plan. Well done. CFW, hello. Jonathan 3 and 6, 3, 6, 8, and 4. I think that's the first mention of 4. What is 4? 4. Oh, it's from an update from Paul F. That's going to be when he comes around again. Haven't seen him for a bit. I don't have any update. Here is Oystein. Oystein with that $100 Amazon gift card. Thank you once again, sir. If you didn't know, if you started late, I had already acknowledged that and announced it. Good to see you from Jonathan to Oystein. There's a big jump again. Trying to get through these quickly so I can get to Zoom. Brian Lightfoot. Normal people are those that are not technicians. Yes, exactly. That's what I mean by normals. And we don't even have to include the word people because the slang for the normal people is normals, just plural. Movie quote, but I will take Best Buy, LOL. Oh, that was a movie quote that he did back up there, and I called it Best Buy. Oh, yeah, about being done. High of 23 degrees Celsius for Greg. Can you help me with my laptop today? Tell me, give me an idea in chat what the issue is. Topic number 6. Tim says, just to get it set up like you have your PC. If you're not having a problem right now, Tim, I think I might prefer to defer that. Wait, do you have the computer back from repair already? Or were you asking for a future help with it? If you could help it, fix it, make it faster. But you don't have it back from repair yet, do you? All right, so let's go bring in Zoom. Get ready, Zoom. I'll be turning on my microphone to you, my camera to you, and then I'll be turning on the audio from Zoom to come over to me and to YouTube. Let's see, same as system there, and then unmute this, and then let's see if that worked. So, hello, William Dawson.
Hey, Doug.
Hey. Yes, it does work. Do you have any comments or questions to start out with?
Topic 6 sounds like an interesting question.
All right.
Because how do you define norm as a general term?
No, well, that's a good point. Yeah, we can spend a little time on that because there's different variations of normal. So then, Mike Wojcik, hello, sir.
Hello, Doug. How are you?
I'm good,
Fine.
thank you. Do you have any questions, topics, comments to start out with?
Not really. No, I'm just going to the list here. I forgot to check that before I got on Zoom.
All right. Then I'll go to Alex. Alex,
Hello,
how are
Doug.
you?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Actually, I am. That
Hi,
is.
everyone.
Hang on a second, Tim. Yeah, I'm well slept. I'm well fed. I'm well hydrated. I'm feeling good today. So, Alex, did you have any comments, topics, questions to start out
I
with?
have we discussed this on Ken's Zoom, but I have a little bit of a issue that I want to discuss to get your opinion on.
All right. Let's hold that for a little bit so we can get into it. I'll go say hello to Tim. Hello, Tim.
Hello, DougBetts. How you doing today, brother?
I'm good.
The 30 years of technician work, the best #1 tech ever.
All right, you keep buttering that up like that. I'm gonna have to send you a packet of corn or something.
No,
So-
I'm okay. I'm good. I just messing with you. I just had to put that out there.
All right. Now you don't have your computer back from the repair yet, right?
Correct. No, not
Yeah.
yet. Right.
Okay. So your question
It's my
about
other Lenovo. It's my other Lenovo. My Windows 10 Lenovo. It's a different computer. It's a laptop. It's a way different one.
oh, okay. Yeah, well, we may hold off on that. Because I would like to get into these topics. What was it, 3, 6, and 8, something like that? Because this computer's not going to be available here much longer. Alex, did you want to go ahead and tell me what you're?
Yes.
Go ahead.
If you don't mind, I have to be gone at 2 o'clock to meet somebody up at church to discuss this issue. But here's the issue. This lady works out of state a lot, travels a lot, so she won't be around for our whole Bible school that we're having in August at church, and so she wanted me to set up the laptop for her to be able to Microsoft Teams in and show her PowerPoint slides or talk to the kids or whatever. But here's my issue. The church terminated the internet completely at the church because it's too expensive. So the only way right now that I'd be able to get internet on the laptop up at church is using my mobile hotspot on my phone. That's but there's another issue with that. It's a fully metal building, so the cell phone signal in that building is not that good. So what in your opinion is the best way for me to go about getting internet into that building temporarily, just for her to be able to video conference in and show what she needs to?
All right. I see a few ways come to mind that would could work for that, and the devil's always in the details. So I don't know the layout of the building and how good your cell phone signal is outside the building, but I'm thinking that your cell phone needs to be outside the building and using any variety of methods to get that signal into the building. It could come into the building wirelessly or wired. We could use some other hardware devices. We even could be getting a signal from your cell phone hotspot to an Ethernet device outside the building, and then bring an Ethernet cable into the building, and that could be okay for a temporary solution.
I thought about that. Thought about that because my phone, my hotspot feature on my phone, one of the functions is it actually allows me to share the mobile hotspot feature of the phone over Ethernet cable. So I could get a USB-C to Ethernet adapter, plug it into my phone just like you plug in your charging port in your phone, and run an Ethernet cable inside the building, however long it is, temporarily through the door of a building, and plug that into the laptop and get whatever signal from the cell phone outside. But the only bad part of that is the phone would have to stay outside.
Right. So how's the situation there? Is that safe? Would you need to keep somebody outside with it to babysit it for security?
Now I do have one. There is metal doors, so I do have one of those magnets on the back of my phone that if you got like a clip that goes on your air vent in your car, you can attach your phone to it. So I'm thinking I'm thinking maybe if a magnet on my phone will work, I can stick my phone straight to the door.
I'd rather it be further away from the door. I don't like the idea of when you're trying to deal with anything involving radio signals being right up against a lot of metal like that. I haven't tested that to see if that is a real trouble. Are you going to have time to get this part and then do some testing?
I could get an Ethernet cable, like a 50-foot Ethernet cable, and a USB-C adapter for my phone, and have it by tomorrow. So yes, I would have enough time because we're not going to start all this until Wednesday.
Wednesday this week.
Yes.
Yeah, and so today's Saturday. So you get it by tomorrow, and then can you go to the church? Actually, you'll be going to get it tomorrow. That's Sunday. And I think don't you go to church twice on Sundays?
Yes, but my mom has a key, so we can go anytime through the week. And
all right, good. Yeah, I think you ought to have materials with you so that you can try a few different ways. You could try the magnet again on the door, but if you didn't have time to really test that thoroughly, and people opening and closing the door, I mean, that just sounds a little sketchy. I'd rather see it out several feet away from the door.
So what do you recommend if I go with that method? How long of an Ethernet cable do I need? 50-foot, 100-foot?
Well, I don't know how far the table is, where the computer is going to be from the inside of the door. I'd want to be like at least 5 feet, preferably 10 or 20 feet from the outside of the door. Not that that's it. You don't need to be that far, but that would be a comfortable margin. So how much line do you need from the inside of the door to wherever the laptop's going to be sitting? And be sure you're probably going to want to tape it down on the floor so people don't trip over it.
Probably 15, 20 feet.
All right. Well, what you were talking about is 50 is plenty. There's nothing wrong with having excess cable length.
I got 75-foot of cable that's going through the wall. Most of it is in my room here behind my desk, because it only takes about 25 feet to go from in my room to the other room. So
all right. So is that question answered there about the distance, the length that you need?
Yes, unless you think the question is answered, unless you think there's another way around this that I can get at a moment's notice.
There are other ways around it, but I think this one is easily better than the others that I had in mind, because I did not know that you were able to buy a device that will attach your phone and directly to an Ethernet cable. I like that method very much. It's simpler, more streamlined than the methods that I had in mind, and probably would perform better.
Well, if today when I go up there and talk to her, if I'm not able to get that much of a good signal inside, which I don't think I will be able to, I'll mention to her getting this cable and putting the phone outside and see what she thinks about that as far as like the security aspect of it. Somebody may want to stay out there with the phone just because we are right on the side of a major highway,
I have an idea. Do you where you have to bring the cord in, the wire in, can you get a car near there, like park a car near there? Because then you could leave the phone in the locked car, have the window open a crack to run the cable through, and do it that way.
Yes, we can actually do that. We can get a car can park right up next to pretty much. I mean, there's a sidewalk around the building, but a car can pretty much park right up close to that door, so that Mike, that would work. I could leave the phone in somebody's car, or could leave the phone in my van, and as long as we get a long enough cable, I mean, that
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. And then, and failing that, another way is any other kind of something that you can put it in. If there was any kind of a big storage container box or something that can be put out there and be put inside. Being inside the car, you might. I'm not sure about how well if you have it down on the floorboard, if you don't get as good of a signal as if it's up. Normally when you're using a phone in a car, you've got it up at like chest level or something like that.
You could put like a cardboard box over it in the car, disguise it.
Over the car?
No, over the phone.
Yeah, over the phone if you're not using a car. But I think that gives you enough of an idea, Alex, that you can probably work that out.
Hey, now this is only for an hour. So what about, or maybe an hour and a half. So what about that brings up another question. My phone in a locked hot car. I mean,
yeah, so that's another.
Possibly will overheat.
Yeah, definitely possibly, because your phone's going to be working harder than it ever has. Now, another thing, you want to be sure you have power to it, and I would prefer it be a AC electrical adapter rather than running off of like a car cigarette lighter or something like that. So that's nothing. Now, if this is only one session for an hour long, I think it's far simpler to have somebody out there with the phone.
Now it's going to be every Wednesday night in August. So
it's not one time then.
It's going to be 5 1-hour sessions.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought 1 hour, one time hour.
I was thinking for when he said it was going to be that way, like a Netgear or another company's hotspot, they can slide his phone SIM card into when they have to use it. Just a little box.
Yeah.
Phone out.
Well, I don't like having to move a SIM card around.
I don't like that idea either, just because it's very hard to do.
Too much that could go wrong.
Or the church itself would simply get a cheap cell phone plan.
But can we get that?
Yeah, they need it by Wednesday.
I mean, it wouldn't do this Wednesday, but it would do the further Wednesdays they got, or any other time they got such a type of event going on.
And if all else fails, she's told me she can just send me, if we can't get any of this online internet stuff to work, she can just send me her PowerPoint slide she was going to talk through, and I can show them or whatever. She can call me on the phone and she can talk through them. But I'm trying every avenue possible to think about every avenue possible to get internet over there so we can do it the way she was originally planning.
I'd take her plan B as a backup and have a backup copy in case something goes wrong.
Yeah, that's a good point. To have as many backup plans as you can think of, because things can go wrong. All right. Well, I think we got some options out there on the table. I am looking at chat, and the things that I'm seeing in chat look kind of along the lines that we've already talked about, so I'm not going to read over all of them into the video. Yeah, the line of sight through a window and so on, temperatures in the car. Yeah, it's all kind of similar stuff. The security due to somebody might be tempted to take the phone. The power, electrical power, I can't emphasize that enough. And having somebody there with the phone, I mean, they'll be able to feel if it's overheating. They can see if anything's going wrong with it. So maybe even if you could have somebody watching it or attending to it the first time at least. Are you going to be able to go in and out of the room while during at least the first session to monitor this yourself, Alex?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, and I see John asking about neighbors that can provide a Wi-Fi signal. I think that's been talked about already too. So I don't want to rehash stuff that you guys have already talked about. Do you think you have a focus on where to go from here?
Yeah, I think my first thing that I'll try after I discuss it with her, if I can't get a good enough signal inside, would be to get a adapter for my phone.
Yeah.
Ethernet, and see how that works. But before I do that, I'll just take the laptop at the church, take my phone, and take the laptop outside with the laptop connected to the phone, and see how good of a speed test I can run on the laptop.
Wirelessly, you mean? The connection between your
Yes.
phone and the laptop would be wireless outside. I think that's a great idea, because if you can't get a good enough connection there, then it's probably not going to work out with Ethernet. The Ethernet is going to be a little bit better than a wireless connection. But if you have both devices outside, that's an excellent test. And testing it by having somebody call in, perhaps through Zoom, so that you can see, can you do a video call session? Now, you said she's wanting to use the Microsoft
Teams.
Teams.
She has a license for Teams through her work, so
Okay.
she'll be sending me a link.
Okay.
And
So is she going to be is she going to have a camera on herself and she'll be visible to the audience, or is she just coming in by voice?
she hasn't told me anything about a camera, but I was going to ask her
Okay.
if she would need me to have a camera set up and all that, so that pointed so it can look at everybody. Or
Okay. So, and I think when you go test it with your equipment wirelessly, you should have somebody, maybe one of the Zoom homies, call in, and you can interact with them through Zoom and be sure you got good performance with that. Okay.
okay, but through all this, I'm kind of even though this is like just a 1 month ordeal.
Yeah.
I'm kind of wishing they hadn't turned off internet at church, or we would have had this discussion with the person in charge of the money before, so that we can temporarily have the internet turned back on, at least in that one building, so we wouldn't have to worry about all this.
Well, yeah, that's one way to look at it, but another way to look at it that I feel a little more, that I like a little bit more, is if you can become the hero in this situation, then you gain a little bit of fame through the church, and that could bring some work your way.
Another thing that I was really interested in for a little bit that William brought up was that, I don't know if it worked though, because of how many trees and everything we have around here, but getting like a point-to-point wireless bridge from my house, putting one at my house and one at the church, and me basically control the church using my internet.
Yeah, that's a possibility. And there are some specialized devices for transmitting wireless over longer distances like that. But I'd like to move along to another topic if we've got you some focus on where to go next.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Doug.
You're welcome. And then I have been looking at chat here, and there's a lot of chit chat back and forth, a lot of stuff along the lines of what we've been talking about. So I'd like to move along to the topics 3, 6, and 8. I think they are, and yeah, somehow I'm really eager to get going with this computer behind me. These topics: explore new Dell Optiplex 7010 computer. This is a computer that I purchased for a client. This office, we're expecting to be outfitting their whole office with them. This is the second one we've bought for them. And then let's see. Yeah, discuss what you do when setting up a new computer for normal, so we can get poking around at that. And then we can also see if this computer is actually pre-configured with RAID. I suspect that it is, but it's possible that it is not. And it is not accurate to say that Dell pre-configures all computers with RAID. That is something that I believe you have some control over, and I'd like to try to demonstrate that today. Now, it's this computer. I have turned it on. I think it's gone to sleep because what I've done with this computer is the current state of it is just Windows 11 initialized and the updates completed. So I haven't done any configuration, which means it already went to sleep since I turned it on. Now, here's that lock screen for that computer. And July 29th, correct? 11:30, correct. So, whoops, wrong keyboard. What did I just do by pressing the Enter key on Big Beast? Did I blow that out? I think I deleted. Yeah, I actually deleted that source. Let's see, it's Live Gamer Duo 1, no signal. No. Oh, my computer's back asleep again. Oh, that's what happened. Yeah. No, it's not that I accidentally deleted it. It's that I was trying to sign in and I missed. I had the wrong keyboard. And it went to sleep again because the lock screen goes to sleep very quickly. All right, so now I have that computer up on this monitor over there and in the capture card straight ahead of me. And I just clicked and lost that screen, whatever it said. We're getting some blinking here. And last time I tested this, it was blinking during the initialization steps, but when it got to the desktop, it was no longer blinking. Let me try disconnecting the external monitor. That's just going to drive us all nuts. And see if it stops blinking. Haven't seen a blink yet. All right. And I'm gonna kind of mix the topics here by bringing up my new computer configuration checklist that I revised for the purposes of this video, but it's not real well designed for other people to see. The way I do this is I have this Microsoft Word document that has these steps that I do, and then I go through a certain sequence of copying and pasting them into OneNote. So the first step here is I'll Control 8, I'll highlight all of that, and then insert table, and right click in the table, insert columns to the left. And then when I copy all of this, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and copy it all to OneNote because it just shows up better over there. I got to take that off screen while I open OneNote because it'll open to some client content. Where do I want to do it? Let's go to Live Windows Training. Go to, we'll call this page checklist. I know I misspelled it. Then Control V paste it without the formatting. So I'll Control Z to undo that. I'll do a right click and do paste keep source formatting so that I get these check boxes, and then I actually do Windows key period to bring up these emojis, I guess. Yeah, emojis. And I use the check mark from there. And then I copy that check mark and I just Control V every time I go to a new line. So one of the early things to do is to change the sleep settings so that it doesn't go to sleep while I'm working on it. So let's go do that one. Right click on the desktop and personalize still putzing around. Is the best way to go personalized or display? I think it might be display. Display settings. Background image, color slideshow, color theme, install lock screen. I think that way. Yeah, here, screen timeout and screensaver. So how does screen timeout and screensaver translate to the lock screen? Well, when it times out, that gets you to the lock screen. But what I want to do is stop it from going to sleep. So I went into screensaver, then here's change power settings. So I can go that way. I can go screen timeout, and then here's screen in sleep. Click on that one. When plugged in, turn off my screen after 5 minutes. No, I want it to be never. Should be scroll all the way to the bottom to find never there. And then when plugged in, put my device to sleep also is never. If you're turning, I think that automatically changed to never when I changed this one to never. You may or may not have noticed that. Okay. Am I going? No, I don't want to go straight into the configurations for normals because I'm also eager to see if this has the RAID configuration. I think I can show you CMOS on this computer. Yeah, BIOS setup on this computer. So to do that, I'm going to go to the Windows button, then the power button, hold down the Shift key when I click Restart. And that way I should be able to ask for BIOS settings. While I'm waiting for that, I'm looking at chat for the last thing that I highlighted. Jim, we don't need another hero. We don't need to find the way home. All we want is life beyond the Thunderdome. All right. Ken was away from the computer. What are the specs of this PC? Okay, we'll get to that too. Yes, Brian, the computer was asleep. Ken Stout to Brian, very much Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Tim said he says blinking. We think we fixed that. Specs on the PC, we'll get to that. That's that link from Jonathan checking. Oh, yeah, this is not. Well, okay, that's kind of close. The link that Jonathan put in takes to this Optiplex 7000 tower. This was custom ordered, so that is not the configuration we have. All right, here we go back to going into BIOS. Now you're going to see the blinking because until the Windows driver is there, I think we're going to be seeing this blinking. There it is. Yep. So troubleshoot or advanced options. Got to get the right mouse here. You probably didn't see me moving my mouse around while I was using Big Beast mouse. Factory image reset, no. Go to advanced options and then UEFI firmware settings. This computer was configured by my interactions with a salesperson at Dell. I did not go through the website and make my selections. And it occurred to me as I was thinking about discussing this RAID issue on Dell computers is that I don't know that I told them to not configure RAID. So it probably is configured RAID. Well, here we have an overview. Now, here's the service tag. I will, let's see. No, I can't. Yeah, if somebody would just type in chat service tag equals and then type that service tag. I can't do a copy and paste because that computer is not, I'm not connected remotely to it from Baby Beast. And that way we can search that on Dell's website and we'll find the configuration of this computer. Manufactured June 26. It's 13th gen i5, 13500, 4.8 gigahertz, 6+8 cores, 16 gigabytes of memory, dual channel mode, DDR5. Integrated graphics, the BIOS version. Okay, we didn't get to store. Okay, storage. All right, port enabled H. Yeah, RAID is on. Storage devices configured to support RAID functions with VMD controller when enabled. All NVMe SATA drive devices would be mapped under VMD controller. Windows RST Rapid Storage Technology driver for Linux kernel must be loaded in order to boot from the OS. So when you're configuring a Dell purchase, you can tell them how you want the drives configured so that you can tell them to do HCI NVMe instead of RAID. And I don't think I've instructed them to do that on these machines, but I intend to for the remainder machines that we receive. I'm probably not going to change it on this computer because, frankly, it just doesn't make that much of a difference to the users in this office. In fact, I probably am not ready to rattle off why we care, but I think in a recovery scenario, it's going to be a little bit easier with the HCI configuration. Yeah, if somebody wants to add any comments in the chat, what the disadvantage is here for RAID on. It doesn't give us much advantage because we're not going to do mirroring or striping. We're not going to do RAID 0, 1, or 5. So, or 10. So why have it?
I agree.
Yeah. Now, is there anything else we want to look at in BIOS? I'm going back to look at chat and see if there's anything else you want to see in BIOS before I leave here. System power. I think he's saying that that's an easier way to get to the screen settings. And Wintermute has this is this JDY NW? Is that this computer? JDY NW at
I think so. It looks like it.
JDY NWX3. Yep, that is specifically this computer. Very good. Instead of actually typing the service tag, you just gave us a link to this configuration. So you can poke around through that, any of you can, and find more information about it. Let's come back to chat. Look at Device Manager, see which storage driver is used. There's the service tag, and then there's specs on the computer. If you enable HCI, make sure to boot in safe mode so that HCI drivers are loaded. Okay. Now, I'm not even sure, can I, if I change, in fact, I don't mind testing this because I already have backup images of this computer. I don't mind testing this if we want to. If I were to change this to HCI and then reboot into safe mode, is that all I'm going to need to do, or do I need to reinstall Windows? I don't know that. Some of you know that off the top of your head, but that's not, and I've probably been through that before, but I don't remember if I have. Oystein, my Acer PC also has RAID set up as the default 10 years ago. And well, one of the reasons why they did it was Optane, I think Optane memory. And I didn't see that anywhere on this configuration, so I don't think they're using Optane anymore. But I think that was a reason they were using RAID for some amount of time. I should think that in a business environment, a RAID array set up to mirror would be a good choice. Not needed. Not needed here because that would mean you need a second drive, but the workstation computers in this office don't store data. They only have applications. So the only reason to have a mirroring drive there is if you want the fault tolerance, so that if a drive goes bad, the computer just instantly it continues running. And then you've got to replace that drive with another one. Well, for the work, that's important for a computer that you don't want to shut it down. You don't want to open it up. You don't want to restore a backup image. But on these workstations, that's not a big deal. So it would substantially increase the cost of these computers if we did a second drive on every computer, when they all pretty much are the same configuration. Since they're all going to be the same model, we could do an image backup from one computer and restore it to another, and then just log in with the specific user's account. Once we have this office using Active Directory, which we will be, we're not currently, but we will be, then it's a pretty simple thing. So no, I don't think that we'll be doing mirroring. In fact, I know we're not going to be doing mirroring on these computers. Optane has been discontinued. I thought it had. You need to go to safe mode once, set it up before the change, reinstall unnecessary. Okay, good. Set it up before the change. So I'm set it up. What do you mean by set it up before the change? Oh, trigger it so that it's going to do safe mode on the next start. If I change, in fact, I'm thinking I want to do this. If I change to here and restart the computer, let's see, what does it say here? SATA NVMe operation status changed. Warning, changing the setting may prevent your operating system with booting or require a reinstall. Are you sure you would like to continue? I'm going to answer no until we talk about a little bit more. But I would suspect that when I restart the computer, it's going to fail to boot. And then after 3 failures to boot, it should go into automatic repair. When it's rebooting, since we don't have F8 anymore to select safe mode, I don't know how I would make it restart in safe mode from the BIOS setup screen. So if you have input for that, I would welcome that. Optane was a flash in the pan. Glad to see it dying out. Yeah, it kind of was like a 8-track tapes. And what was that other DVD format? And wasn't there something else besides Blu-ray that was short-lived? Zvi, as Greg M said, change in BIOS to HCI, then restart safe mode. Do nothing, just restart. The HCI driver will be loaded. Okay, great. And then I'm guessing this is probably saying the same thing. Oh, why Intel killed its Optane memory business? Well, I would suspect that it was useful before SSDs. I haven't read through this, but once we had SSDs and more RAM memory, I don't think it was so useful. But I'm not sure about that. I have not read through that. I'll leave it up on screen so I can look at that later. Ran Israel.
It's nothing but a buffer for the spinning hard drive.
Yeah, spinning hard drive. Optane memory was a buffer. So that I think that the CPU could issue a command to like load a file, and it could load or save to that Optane memory as kind of an intermediate step. So it's kind of like a transition between the two states. And I think the Optane memory was actually part of, logically speaking, part of the drive, part of your hard drive. So that communication all happened, I think, between the operating system and the hard drive and the Optane memory. I don't know. I'm talking off the top of my head, and I should not do that when I haven't read it recently. Yeah, Betamax, that's it. BH Ringer, that's it. That's the other one that went out. And then Laserdisc. Well, Laserdisc is any CD, isn't it? Laserdisc about the size of a record. Oh, there was like an 8-inch. I think it was an 8-inch.
There was a video disc for a while.
A video disc.
Yeah. You couldn't record to it or anything. You just put it in it was almost the shape of a turntable or something. You put it in, and you played a movie on it.
Oh,
that was it didn't last long.
Yeah, I don't think I ever encountered that one myself.
The only reason I'm familiar is I worked with a guy whose uncle owned a store that had these things.
Yeah. Randy Israel saying, yeah, or plan ahead and restore F8 functionality. I know that F8 functionality can be restored. I have looked through how to do that, but I think that's unneeded in this case. Steve G, at the advanced options screen, select advanced startup options. Well, that's fine if you're going from Windows, but we're going from BIOS. So we're making a BIOS adjustment. We don't have an advanced options screen. That's available from Windows. Select startup settings, restart, the computer restarts, enter startup settings, the menu. And that's what I just demonstrated. That's how I got into BIOS. Select F4 to start the computer in safe mode. If you must use the internet, select for F5. Yeah, but that's not going to work in this case because you have to have a functional Windows operating system. And this is not going to be a functional Windows operating system right after we turn off whatever that mode we're about to turn off is.
Rage mode.
RAID. Thank you. And the memory starts failing. Same as Laserdisc. Go on the BIOS. Dell is F2 key. Yeah, that's not what we're trying to do here. And the F2 key, when you're starting up a computer, it's just kind of hit and miss, particularly on this keyboard that I'm using, because it has these the FN keys, and there's a way here to lock the FN keys by holding this down and then this lock key, but there's no status light on this keyboard. So I don't know if the keyboard is in function key lock or unlock mode. So when I'm trying to use F2 or delete or whatever the computer is that I'm dealing with, I'll be tapping F2 and then once in a while hit the FN key trying to get in, and it's kind of hit and miss. So I would rather use the advanced startup by holding down the shift key when clicking restart from within Windows. Now, moving on. I have a large library of laser discs. It lasted several years, much better than VHS, not as good as DVD. Sonos Betamax is superior. Go back to Windows, do the safe mode operation, then back to BIOS. Oh, there you go. That's a way to prepare it in advance. Safe mode option, then back to BIOS. Okay, now that's making more sense for the things that you guys have been saying. That's intriguing. Let's try that. Let's see if we can get this change to happen gracefully. Laser discs were available as either sequential or direct access. Some video games use them. Randy Israel, change back to RAID, boot to Windows, use msconfig to set up boot to safe mode, go into BIOS. That's good. That's good. I like that. Let's do this. Now I haven't actually turned off RAID yet. So we'll go do this now. RAID is still on. And I'm not even going to click to apply changes. We'll go look somewhere here too. Oh, there's exit on the bottom right corner. Do you want to save changes? No. Yeah, I like that with msconfig. Zavi Manor saying the steps are set the computer restart safe mode when it is starting. Press F2 to BIOS. When you exit the BIOS, it will restart to safe mode. I like that. To me, the BIOS looks like it. To me, the BIOS look like it's in URDU mode. Urdu mode. I don't know that. What is that? Okay, so here we are back. Booted to Windows. Windows key, msconfig. And then what was startup? No, boot, safe boot. And even when we get back into Windows, it'll first boot into safe mode, and we'll have to come back here and turn this off, right? And now, if I'm using, as Zavi Manor is saying here, restart safe mode. When it's starting, use F2 to get to BIOS. When you exit the BIOS, restart safe mode. Can I use the advanced start mode by holding down the shift key when I click restart, or will that override and ignore? No, that couldn't ignore the safe mode. All right, so let me show what I'm proposing to do. So safe boot, minimal. Yeah, I don't think we need anything other than minimal. Making them permanent. That'll make them stick. So if I don't click this, is this safe boot a one-time choice? Might be. May need to restart your computer to apply these changes before restarting. Save any files. I'm wondering if I hold down the Shift key while I click restart here, would that let me select BIOS mode? Rand Israel says yes, it is. Now I got to remember what question I asked that he would respond yes, it is. It's one time. Was that it's only one time? Tim says he agrees. So I'm proposing I hold down the Shift key and click restart and see if that'll let me select BIOS. One-time boot to safe mode. Okay, thank you for specifying that, Rand. All right, here it is. I'm holding the Shift key and clicking restart. It's quite possible nobody in chat actually knows with that prompt, because that wasn't going to the Windows key and then select power and then select restart with the Shift key. And I need to be ready for F2. And the catch there, well, now here's another catch. I don't see any screen since I disconnected the external monitor. So I am pressing F2 and occasionally hitting that FN key. This might miss. Ah, I got it. All right, so I don't know if, actually I know the Shift key did not, yeah, the Shift key and clicking restart did not take place because I wasn't offered those choices. Now that could be because I was pressing F2. All right, yes, I agree, Tim agrees, one-time safe boot to when restarting the PC is posting F2 to interrupt the post. BIOS looks like it's in UEFI mode. Is that what Frankie was saying up there? It was just a misspelling somewhere up there? Yeah, I would expect it to be in UEFI mode. All right, so then storage and AHCI. All right, about ready to click yes. Am I missing anything? Waiting for people in chat to say go for it, something like that. Type the number 3 if you're saying I should go for it. I got everything covered.
Three.
Go for it. 3. There it is. All right, here we go. So we're expecting safe mode. Oh, okay, I just made the change. That didn't do the restart. Okay, apply changes. Down here at the bottom, it shows me there's one change that was made. I could have gone to exit and it would have asked me if I want to save changes. I could save that as custom user settings if I wanted to. I'm not going to do that. Not quite sure the advantages, disadvantages of it. I think it would maybe allow me to name this set of changes and then click exit. And now I got a black screen and I can't see anything else. I'm tempted to plug in that other monitor, but when I was previously working with this computer and switching monitors around while I was rebooting, I just had all kinds of things not go right. All right, that's safe mode. We didn't have any glitches during restart. This mouse. Looks like you aren't connected to the internet. And somewhere along the line, I need to tell you what the experience was of initializing this computer related to internet. But let's stick with the RAID issue first. So now if I go to msconfig, we should not find safe mode as being set. Try that again. Windows key, MS. And it's not typing. Why? MS config. Try it this way. Selective startup load system service start. Yeah, safe mode is still set. I'm tempted to try another reboot to see if safe mode still stays on. That's going to contradict what we were speculating, that it was temporary. Greg 22, a bunch of threes, and yes, reboot MS config set again. Basic safe mode doesn't load Ethernet drivers. Oh yes, of course, that's what was going on there. Well, actually, oh, I do have Ethernet connected. Check device manager to see which storage driver is used. This has already restarted and it is still in safe mode. So let's go turn off safe mode. Yeah, search does not work just from the window, pressing the Windows key. I have to click in the search field. Maybe that's a symptom of safe mode. Apply that. Then this still shows selective startup here. I'm going to change that to normal startup. And OK. Restart. And Israel says, that's odd. I remembered it was one-time boot. I'll have to check my notes. That could be another thing that has changed from Windows 10 to Windows 11. Or it could have changed during some update along the way, because there's things change. Yeah, that's restarted now. It's in normal mode. And then device manager to see what driver. And let's see, check device manager to see which storage driver is used. I don't know how you're recognizing. Let's see, let's populate this, see what this screen tells us. Yeah, when you're asking for what driver is being used, I don't know what you're looking for there. So maybe you tell me something more specific. Am I at the right place? Storage controllers. Storage controllers. All right. Microsoft Storage Spaces controller. And standard NVMe Express controller. So demeanor says IDE. I don't know what your
the controllers further up the list there. The IDE, ATA.
Do you see IDE on this screen?
Under human interface devices.
Yes, underneath, higher up the list there, Doug.
Here's, I've got human interface devices.
Right, well, right there, right below it.
Right
Go
below.
down. Go down. Go down.
Oh, this IDE, that's a category. IDE,
yeah.
ATA, standard SATA AHCI controller. Okay, this where it's saying IDE here, that's not saying that it's an IDE controller. This is a category, right, of controllers. Mm-hmm. And the controller that's being used is a SATA AHCI. So what we were looking, if we were in RAID mode, would we be seeing a like SATA RAID controller here instead of AHCI?
That's seeming what they're saying.
That's what I'm deducing that to mean. But as far as coming to Device
You said-
Manager to determine whether we're in AHCI mode or RAID mode. Yeah, I guess that would be a sensible place. Now we could go turn it back, change it back to RAID, and see if that changes this controller, if anyone cares. Zavi says exactly. I think that kind of makes sense. Jim's calling it a squirrel moment. All right. Does it really matter that the machine's running? Inquiring minds want to know. Oystein says, let's see it. I think he's saying go back to RAID. I think we can pass on that and move on to other interesting things. Type in info and go to HW. Are you looking for system info? MS Info 32. Let's see. He's saying, oh, how about can I do Windows key and start typing now? He's saying type info. Yes, I can. Yeah, I think he's asking for MS Info 32. And he wants to go to hardware. This is probably just another way of identifying AHCI versus RAID. And what do you want to go to then? That's hardware resources. I don't know what you want to see in here. You want to change to RAID, just change in the BIOS. No need for safe mode. I'm inclined to suspect that that's true, that we could have passed on the safe mode, but wasn't, I think, Zvi, weren't you telling us to go in to use safe mode? Bangs head on desk. Move on. Where is Curious Doug? Get some RAID and get rid of the bugs. Randy Israel, sorry I was mistaken. For one-time boot to safe mode, run the command shutdown RO. All right, let's move on to something else. I don't feel like I want to step through all of these items here. I'm intending to publish some edited videos of demonstrating these things. I feel like I'm pretty comfortable just going to various things on the screen. Of course, to get rid of some of these icons down here and display all these icons down here. I typically install Google Chrome and Adobe Acrobat Reader. VLC, I typically enable System Restore or make sure it is enabled, because a lot of times it's not, and fix registry backup so that they're working. Several other things that are on my list. I'm taking requests. Where do you want to go to? Oh, we could go look at ordering a Dell computer to see how to get the computer so it arrives without RAID enabled. And I'm inclined that I'm going to be doing that for the rest of the computers that we order for this client so that I don't have to go in and mess with this. But that was really easy to do, which I did not know off the top of my head. Greg says he does not remove apps from the start menu. I do not either from, not from Windows 11. From Windows 10, I remove categories. Let me show that on Big Beast. Come over here. When you have all these categories over here, there's a group name, and you can right-click on the group name and unpin the entire group instead of individually removing those if you don't like that whole panel of stuff that shows over here. But my experience with my clients, they don't care about that. They're blind to it because they're only clicking things that are on the taskbar at the bottom or icons on the desktop, they very rarely click the Windows key to look through here. The only reason they click the Windows key is to shut the computer down. Not exactly a normal step, but in Windows 11, I like to add the small settings icon to the start menu like it was in Windows 10. When you click on, whoops, got to get the right mouse. When you click on the Windows button now, isn't settings easily available right here? And my users, they never go into settings, so I don't care about doing that for them. Greg says, same here, Doug. Whoops, I didn't mean to go to that button. I also typically turn off this weather app down the bottom left. And with Windows 11, I've decided I want to turn that off because I'm concerned that clients are going to come over here trying to find the shutdown button. And they're just going to see all this clutter. And my clients in business offices, the end users, we don't really want them getting sidetracked, chasing squirrels. So let's see, is this right-click on the taskbar settings, and then widgets. I think that one down here in the bottom left, isn't that called widgets? Turn that one off. Yep, that goes off. And then task view is this one here. I like to turn off task view because I think I had it happen once where a client called me and said, everything vanished. All my icons, all my open programs, the documents I was working on vanished. And I think what had happened is they'd gone here to task view and they got to a new desktop and they lost everything that they had open. And you actually have now two separate desktops open that can have different group of programs that are open, and even the desktop icons will be different. If I move that icon and then come back here to desktop 2, desktop 1, oh, made a liar out of me. That one didn't stick. When I started tinkering around with these desktops, trying to see if I could find it a way that it was useful to me, I found it didn't work the way that I wanted it to. Now, but another thing that's available here is history. If you have history, which I don't here, maybe I have, do I have history on Big Beast Build?